Three, two, one. We are live. Hello, everyone out there in Facebook land. Got Andrew Berman here on the East Coast with my buddy Paul Lucido out there at the PRMG headquarters. The Chief Marketing Officer Paul Lucido himself. Paul, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Andrew, as always.
I love doing these with you. This is like, I don't even know how many weeks we've been into this, but it's been a lot of fun. I mean, this is doing the thing that you and I talked about being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And frankly, I still feel awkward doing this without the script, without actually, without someone else as the subject that I'm interviewing. So I'm here actually, and it's you and me with our thoughts. Today, our focus is free will. We're taking sections from J. Doran's 30 Days of Thought. That's the book here you see on the ends. J. Doran's 30 Days of Thought. He wrote this book that's designed to get you to read, to write your thoughts on what you've just read, and then go in front of a camera and record your thoughts. And it is something powerful about your ability to articulate your thoughts, what you've just read, and it becomes easier to do whatever you need to do in sharing your message, whether it's public speaking, whether it's doing live Facebooks like this, live webinars. It's very, very helpful. Today, our focus there we're going to be doing is free will. Free will is the topic that we're doing today. Free will is the section in the book of J. Doran's 30 Days of Thought. I mean, and you want to take this, kind of lead this off, expand any further on the free will concept, because I know you've got a lot to say. And as always, I love it when you lead this off, because I get ideas from you. I do have my notes that I have. It's almost actually like funny. Like I wrote down, I read this without looking at my previous notes, and it was really similar to my previous notes, which is good. I like the fact that I'm consistent with myself. But in the section, and I'm just going to read this, and I'll pass it off to you. In the section, just kind of the summary of the section, Jay writes, he believes he has free will, but only as free as his will may deem him, and his will is a passenger to perspective. Free will. Paul, take it away.
Okay, good. And I wrote the same thing down, so I'm not going to repeat that. But yes, free will. So here's a couple things to give consideration. First of all, when we talk about the term free will, the question is, do we all have truly what is considered to be free will? There is a huge debate going on between guys like Sam Harris, Sean Carroll. Sam Harris is a neuroscientist and philosopher. Sean Carroll is also a physicist, a theoretical physicist, and he's also for quantum theory, gravity, and cosmology. And I just listened just last night to a recent podcast between Joe Rogan and Sam Harris debating free will, as well as one with Sean Carroll. They believe that there really truly is no free will. And I know that's going to be a hard pill to swallow for everybody, because they believe that what we consider to be ourselves, the I, the thinker of the thought, the author of our thoughts, that is really just a perception. That's what we all believe to be true. I mean, and generally speaking, everybody has that same feeling, including these guys that are debating this idea, this concept. There is something going on very, very deep, much deeper, at a deeper level, at a neurochemical level, if you will, in the synapses that occurs, that might actually happen prior to us actually making a decision. In other words, a lot of that could be predisposed. That's hard to get. And that almost says that there's no responsibility for anything that you say or do, or the words that are coming out of my mouth, that everything that's happening, everything that I'm saying has already been predisposed somewhere at a very, very, very deep subatomic level, for lack of a better way to say it. So I encourage anybody listening, go and listen to these podcasts. These guys go on for probably an hour, but you can learn a lot, and it'll give you some idea of what they're really talking about free will. So now let's go to free will in Jay's context. So Jay is basically saying the perception of free will is based upon your environment and the interactions you may have throughout it, right? Cause and effect, okay? My day might affect my decisions. So do I really have free will? Well, I'm reacting to things, right? I'm making decisions based on information coming in at me. There's also another part of this that Jay is speaking to, and that's the total environment. What's within our environment, and what are we ignorant that's outside of to our environment? Let's talk about the big albatross that hangs around the neck of the lion that lives in a cage. Okay, so Jay's analogy, if you excuse me, I'm going to just kind of pull from my notes because I made some new notes as well today. I rewrote some things. The lion is the king of his domain, okay? But in this case, he's literally living in a cage. So therefore, the lion's perception of what he believes to be free will is truly limited by his own ignorance, okay, of what is beyond the perimeter or parameters of his environment, in this case, the perimeter of his environment, as he knows it to be. So the lion's free to roam around his cage. If anybody comes into the cage, he probably can take control of that situation. And within the limitations of the cage, he has what he perceives to be free will. But in real life, if you will, or in reality, beyond his reality, there's other things happening outside of the perimeter of that cage. Things that are beyond his control. Things that he's ignorant to that may not even affect him. So what?
Yeah.
He's happy in his little environment. What's happening beyond that? So that all being said, it's almost like saying that a lot of what we classify as free will is truly just a perception of our reality. Yeah, I have free will. I'm moving my hand this way and I'm moving my hand that way. I'm moving my hand this way. I'm moving my hand that way. I'm free to do it. Question is, did I author that idea to move my hand, or was it happening at a much deeper level and it was going to happen anyway? We won't go there because that's for another conversation when you and I have an hour to kick that idea around. That's what the scientists and neurobiologists and neuroscientists are trying to figure out still. And they still really don't know. There's some proof, but it's still up for debate. So let's talk about Jay. I wrote this down. Tell me if you think this is on point. How do we break free and take control of our own destiny? Do we really have free will, or are we predisposed, as I've been saying, to genetics, life experiences, the synapses going off, firing off, and the chemicals in our brain, all causing some form of determinism? So determinism is kind of, you're making determinations, you're moving forward, determinism. If you were Laplace's demon, and I won't get into that, but if you were Laplace's demon, you would know everything that's happening in the future. So you'd be able to predict the future, and you would be able to predict everything that's happening in the past. You'd know everything about laws of physics that apply in the world that we know, and therefore you would know everything. Yeah. So you talk about free will, you might as well be godlike, right? So Laplace's demon would be literally, or Laplace's demon would be literally that person, that individual that be all-knowing, omnipresent. And so at the end of the day, none of us are that. So we all have to kind of, it goes back to what you and I were talking about. Seize the day, right? Make the most of it. Try to make good decisions. I mean, we all have some form of free will. We have the ability to rationalize and think through things. So to me, that's where Jay is going. It's about creating your own free will. He's trying to emphasize, how do you break out of that, and how do you expand on that and take control of your life? Good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
Can you? Yeah, can you? Is it? Are you allowed? Are you? You just your free will is just whatever you're able to do within your confines of your free will. So I'm going to share my thoughts, and I'm going to share like a real world perspective of where I think about this, that was something you and I are very familiar with right now. So we're the master of what we know. We we don't know what we don't know. Obviously, ignorance is bliss. The non-man can be intimidated, unlike a lion, who's king of his known domain. The lion doesn't know that there's a world out there. I mean, so we don't know. We don't know. My real world, thing I compare it to is, like, I hate to say it, but like, mortgage brokers right now are just, I mean, just destroying it. I mean, it's unbelievable, the value, the technology that we have access to, the best value you can get right now when you're going to originate, or when you're going to get a mortgage, is mortgage brokers. I mean, it's obviously I'm biased, being I published the National Association of Mortgage Brokers official magazine. My dad was a former mortgage broker for a bunch of years. I grew up around mortgage brokers. I feel like I bleed mortgage broker blood. But we think we're the master of our domain, but we're not anything. We're allowed to live in this space, and to be the master of our own domain, because wholesale lenders have allowed us to. The lenders actually have said, hey, something, we like this, we think it's a good thing, we're going to push and actually going to grow our wholesale channels and grow and grow and grow. And I think the model's great, but at any point, it can end it. They can end it because we don't control our domain. We have free will within our own confines of that space, but doesn't stop us from dominating and controlling that space and doing whatever we need to do actually to keep adding value, build up home ownership, keep growing the mortgage broker model. But that's my perception of free will and how it applies to our world.
Well, first of all, I think your points are very well made, and I like the fact that you tied it back into our industry. I know for a lot of our listeners, they're more curious about, well, how does that apply to me? We have a tendency to look for how I can gain from these discussions. I think that there's two sides to this. There's a philosophical side, which we're trying to just get across, because I think it's fun and interesting to break out of the space. Okay, knowledge is power, as you know. It helps us grow, and a lot of our high-profile people out there, Gary V. We got Christine Beckwith. We've got, of course, Jay Doran, Barry Habib. There are a lot of high-profile people out there that are really, trying to inspire, learn, digest, and then get that information conveyed over to the people that follow that circle, and hopefully they can put it to good use. Okay, we're trying to do the same thing, but what we're also trying to do is we're trying to have a higher level conversation. And for me, look, I like to believe I have free will. I like to believe that I'm responsible for my choices that I make. Now, whether there's something going on that's more causical at a deeper level, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Even if I understand it or perceive to believe that I understand it, is it really going to change the way I live my life? Probably not. We know that, we're made out of stuff. We actually know that. And, this stuff boils down to atoms and neurons and all kinds of chemical reactions and molecular level makeup. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really impact my daily life. So it doesn't really mean a hill of beans in the grand scheme of things as I walk my walk and do what I'm going to do and how I treat my fellow man and woman. That's where, you've got to now look at, it's about really making the right choices in your life, doing the right thing, learning from your mistakes as well as from your successes, and moving forward in that kind of manner. Those are the kinds of things that I think about every day. And when I get up in the morning and I come to work and I'm on my way to Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, PRMG, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do to make a difference? And I do that I think about it, I get to work, I jump in the saddle, I start moving in a direction, and then cause and effect begins to happen. People come in and out of my office. Emails begin to boil, and I got to respond to them. And all of a sudden, I'm in more of a reactionary mode versus a mode that I wanted to come in and kind of have control of. Now I can shut my door, turn my emails off, and say, screw that crap. I'm not dealing with it. I'm going to do what I came to work to do, but you can't do that. Yeah. Okay? You got to be a team player. You got to be involved. You got to be caring. And so you have to balance all that. So it's a matter of, back to what we talk about all the time, it becomes a matter of making choices and hopefully the highest and best use of one's time as well. So those are just some things to think about.
Yeah, awesome, fantastic. I love it. Great perspective as always. So Paul, I think we're going to wrap this up. I don't know if you have one pick for next week, but
you want me to do the old? Would you like me to do the old?
I think you and I have a little treat, so there's we did get a message from Jay, and we have early access to a section. If you saw that Facebook message that he sent us, there's an exclusive. Paul and I actually received a section from the new release, 30 Days of Thought. They just kind of redid it, made some updates. We're going to do that. Let's do that for next week. So next week, we're going to do the same thing. We'll go live again. And that's about it. All right, Paul, anything else you wanted to add before we close this out?
Just a small little, to bring a close to it, as you said, couple things. I want everybody to know that what Andrew and I are doing, while these are live Facebook posts, obviously this is happening in the here and now. What we do is Andrew and I then take those videos and then we kind of redress them, and we're posting them on YouTube. So I encourage you guys to follow us on Lucido Berman on YouTube. I'll make sure I put the links in. Watch the playlist. Some videos have been a lot better than others. A lot of times the struggle with the videos has literally been audio-visual transmission. But I'm suspecting today's video is a little better. I'm seeing it on Facebook. I see the pixelation. I can't control that. But hopefully that things are coming clear. That being said, listen, I always enjoy doing this with you, brother. This is fun for me. It breaks up my lunch hour a little bit and allows me to do something productive once a week. So I want to, be grateful to you for inspiring me to take the step in this direction.
I would have never done this without you. I would have done this without you. I don't want to do this. I don't like actually being live and being actually, but I do like it now. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at first, but I feel much better about it. So I appreciate it. And listen, I got to give credit. One of the first people actually I did, anything kind of Facebook Live, Josh Pitts. He interviewed me. I've never been interviewed. I'm the one that always gets interviewed, or does the interviewing, and he helped me kind of come out of my shell on this. Guy's a beast. I don't know how he does it actually every day, but he's doing it, Tim and Jason. So, all right, man. Let's close this out. Next week we'll have a special treat for you, a little exclusive section from the new 30 Days of Thought. It is available right now on Amazon. So go find it, 30 Days of Thought by Jay Doran. And all right, we're going to close this out. All right, here we go. Ending broadcast in 3, 2, 1.